Good morning, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I always say good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Friday Tea Time Ascension Talk, Miss Venus Friday, which is the 4th of September. It's very, very exciting. And today we have these kinds of tea with a beautiful from Tea Salon.
Which we welcome all of you beautiful dear hearts to chime in. Let us know where you're coming in from. And very grateful to have you here on this beautiful Friday, in this first week of September, and all these wonderful shifts in collective energies that are moving through. And we're honored to be here today to dive in and share all that's moving through, as well check in with everyone and see how they're feeling. See what's moving through, and
I have to close that because it's going to be. Let me just close the Facebook pages because it's going to be. There you go. We're going to be having that. Oh, where did it go? Oh, there we are. There we are. Hi, Demetrius,
good
darling.
evening, Demetrius. How are you doing, Demetrius? How is life over in the beautiful UK?
Yeah. Hi from London. Yeah, tea. So Demetrius, I don't know what tea we're drinking. It's a little bit hot to hold this right now. This is like really, really hot. So we're gonna let it chill a little bit. So much love, everyone, and checking in with everybody. I don't know how you are. I was very, very delighted to start the month of September. We have just a lot happening this month of September. And I just couldn't wait till September 1st began. So this Tuesday was so nice to kickstart this 9 energy. I love number 9. I am life path number 9. So the 9 just constantly vibrates with me, and I love completion. Michael knows I usually have some kind of like checklist and to-do list, and I love checking them off, make sure they're done. And what usually happens is like my field gets filled just as probably yours does with all these ideas or things, or let's say to do things. And many of them I'm just so excited about. But when it's just sitting there, it occupies energy. And I like when I paper and I check it off, it's completed. And love the energy of completion because I find that really ties into my essence as an alchemist. When it's alchemized, it's a complete state. It's finished. It's completed. Then you can co-create. You can create the next, and that co-creation energy. I love giving spark to that. But when you haven't completed, it's just sitting there, and then the energy field gets stuck, and most people aren't aware of that. So they just keep creating more things, but without checking their list off, or sort of like deleting what they put as their desire. So the energy field gets filled and they're scattered and they're not even aware of it. So for month of September, I love that we're given, like today's the 4th. We have 4 days into it. We've been given the opportunity to close some doors, finish off some things. And that finishing off only lifts us because then we can bring more of that which we desire, and now we're more conscious, bring it in. So as we go towards 9-9, like that excites me even more because 9-9 prepares us then also for the equinox energy. So there's a lot happening, and for 7 years, every September, 6 or 7 years, I was in Europe, and particularly south of France, London, Spain, and a couple of times Turkey or Dubai, and that whole region to bring the frequency of the Magdalene, the voice of the Magdalene, the consciousness of Magdalene. And it's so strange not being there September and not being in Europe, and this energy that usually comes from the West Coast that I was from the Lemurian, bring it to Atlantic energy, take it there, it's not happening. So what is then wrapping up here? And there's been a lot wrapping up for sure.
And it's beautiful in the completion of energies of how it opens up a lot of new opportunities. And I feel for the month of September, we're very excited to start some beautiful new projects, some new opportunities in our healing, some new initiations in what we're launching. And it's been powerful to go through this experience, because one of the things that I always find in life is how to create all the to-do lists, to have everything written down, but also to navigate how to move through it when we don't have that ability to plan on what life's mysteries are going to give to you anyway, because part of our ascension process is to really honor and process and integrate everything that's moving through us. And as many of you have been following through us, when we came back from New York City or Long Island, there's been a huge integration process. The energies that we're not aware of, that the universe is still going to give us in our own natural individual timelines, let alone what is here for us to taking on too much because of just our natural ability to stay aligned. And I feel, I love September too. It's a beautiful month, which now it's different, but like in the seasonal levels, it's beautiful to see how the late summer cools down. So we start to feel the cooler nights and cooler mornings. And it's just what I always find is embracing, and even giving us a reflection of what this summer has given to us. Because in some aspects, as we're completing, we're completing 2020 in one of the most chaotic summers I've ever experienced. We've experienced, and now to move even forward with the 9/9 gateway into the equinox, there's also that beauty of just seeing, wow, we've just flew by June, July, August, and now we're all the way in September. And it's been, I feel, a whole lot of energy to really incorporate, ingest, and just what I find my personal ascension is to really integrate and process that in a time where we feel very rooted and structured, because sometimes things can get very fast-paced moving, especially in the DC metropolitan area, where the mode is to keep moving as fast as possible. But we're here in September, and it's beautiful to embrace these energies and all that's coming forward, and really see the gifts and blessings that each of them give to us.
Hi, Valerie, and hi, Higher Heart. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. Hi, Valerie. Hello, Higher Heart. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. It says, Valerie, it seems that the energy has been heavy, lots of sadness, old emotional family issues. Yeah, I think Honey can probably speak on that quite a bit.
Well, I wanted to actually go around that, because not go around it, bring it up. So last 2 weeks ago, when we gathered with each other, it was the week of what I was experiencing with both of my sons and their father, and particularly my younger son. And this space of just taking personal responsibility, the personal responsibility over my emotional body. And it's been a very, very interesting, this Tuesday would be 3 weeks, what has unfolded for me that I am seeing is also very much part of the collective. This was such a deep place of grief I was moving through. A lot of sadness, just a lot of sadness. And of course, most of us have done this work. There's just layers and layers and layers that we have courageously met and set and faced. And I felt like I had experienced a level that was so much even deeper with both of my sons. Both of my sons, like I had shared 2 weeks ago, there's this soul agreement we have with each other that, bless you, when we go through one of these moments where it feels very heavy and dense, we have perhaps like harshness with each other, really upset, then we come apart And what I always see is there's this space that opens up that I have to step it up. And each time I step it up by demonstrating to them that I am willing to go even deeper, I am willing to face myself even more, and I'm willing to create a change. That gives them permission to then be a witness of my journey, and then they rise up. And it's very interesting because, again, like being a different mother than my mother, this was again and again consciously choosing to parent differently, and to recognize my children see me so clearly, and not just take him that because I'm their parent, I know everything. So yesterday, just let me share this with you. So yesterday was so interesting with my mom on the phone. She said, "Honey, I have an advice to give you." She loves giving me advice. She said, I always hid it from you and your brother when I wasn't feeling good because I didn't want you guys to get upset. And children don't like seeing their parents upset. She's like, my mom, her mother did that. And I said to my mom, I said, "Thank you, Mom, but I completely disagree with you. That's why I chose to be a different mother, because for me to be the real rawness of showing my vulnerability, showing my strength, showing my downfalls, showing my courage, showing all parts of me, I feel is the agreement that me and my sons have agreed." And one of the things my sons always say to me, they say, "Mommy, we respect you because you're very real. You don't hide from us." And so my mother doesn't quite understand this. So of course she comes from her perspective, but the ability where they can see and they witness how deep I'm willing to go is something that I really cherish, because I feel like when I meet them, when we see each other in the eye, we meet in God. And how can I hide from this? And I'm gonna go deeper into what the EE system did and all of that. But for me, it has been like ending this battle and this war in me for many, many, many years. And I'll stop here because we're going to come to that.
And what I really
Hi, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
And Lisa.
Hi,
So
Lisa.
much love.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Demetrius, for a little sneeze. Bless you. Happy tea time. And what I want to honor, honey, in many mothers, my mother, and really congratulate what you are really laying the foundation for is, witnessing you almost in these 4 years of being that mother in which your mother wasn't to you, shifting and giving that compassion, that love, that endearment. Like when I watch you embrace your children and really take the time to listen to them, really take the time to communicate to them, really take the moment to express to them, it's such an inspiring way to see as someone that doesn't have children but has parents, and understand that even my mother decided to be the mother that she wasn't, that she didn't have. My grandmother wasn't the warm, comfy, loving, embracing mother. So like my mother and like you, it's amazing how there's this beautiful, beautiful shift of standing up and saying, no, I'm not going to be this parent. I'm going to choose differently, and I'm going to be that vehicle of love to do what I didn't receive. And to me, that is such a power and a gift to not only our ancestral line, but to the children that I feel from my mother. And when I look at your children, of the blessings that you give to them, because you treat them in ways that I see the difference in what you've expressed to me in your history of just this transformation of how we can look at our different ancestral roots and see where we can bring our Christed heart and allow that to come through. And even with this past one, it's usually the deepest ones, which I know there are the children that crack. My mother and my brother and my father were the ones that cracked me the most, that would bring these tender, vulnerable gems that would all of a sudden open us up to deeper levels. And I'm sure you'll explain deeper, but it's a gift that we get to express them. And I just wanted to congratulate you, honey, for being that mother that I witness as your children, because when I see your children really listen to you, it's beyond listening. They embrace it, beyond their teenage years, beyond their level of, their busyness, because sometimes they're on their phones, or they have this. But when there's really that deep-hearted communication, there's something so uniquely connected that I see differently, just due to generations and programs that your children have that in their early years of life that sometimes take many decades to receive and give that back, because I find in this moment, it's probably the biggest gift we can give to our children and loved ones, to do what we didn't receive and give as much love, compassion, kindness, and generosity, and allowing that to take form. And I saw that within my mom. I'm grateful that she chose to be a different mother, as I see that with you. So I want to honor that for what that is.
I appreciate that, because I feel it's one part, again, is individual, one part is ancestry, and I feel the other part of it is for the ascension. So we're talking about ascension energy. So like on 8/8, we're blasted by this stream of light, the center of the central sun, the galactic sun, the source sun, the sun in our heart, the Christed sun. Here we are, boom, luminous. And we came back the first couple of days, you were exhausted. I was like, woohoo! And then boom, I felt like I got slammed end of that week. And that's when we had the Friday tea time. Then I couldn't even do the Friday tea time. We had to shift it to the following week.
Like it was coming. It was almost like the universe was opening the doorway before
Absolutely.
we even got to the EEN
but
systems.
It has to do that, because we're going to the 9/9, and probably many of you, somehow there has been a catalyst to kick it into gear, because so we as the souls embodied in the human form in this time, if we are part of the ascension, if we know we are here to ascend to the highest state of our beingness, of our light and love. So we cannot have these degrees of pain, suffering, sadness, betrayal, and all of those frequencies within our field, because as like I had explained in which talk I was explaining, what happens in this stream, like let's say from 8/8, that the stream of light, through its golden light coming in, it wants to just stream, completely come in. So for example, through the mighty I am presence, it's coming through the Christ itself, it's coming in, it wants to be fully anchored. And we are here to anchor it in the crystalline diamond heart of Gaia. But what happens is that when we have these that are sitting in our field, but they're embedded deeper within the dimensional field inside of us, right? So what happens is like the light, it hits certain pockets, it can't fully come in, and when it does come in, it brings awareness to it, so then it surfaces. So for me, that's what that happened, and it just so happened to be with the soul agreement with my children to physically go through the experience, have that sort of like that very difficult moment with Nevon. I said, okay, I'm going to give you the time, space. He's like, I don't want to talk to you for a while. I said, no problem. I said, I'm going to take responsibility for me, and I'm going to have you take responsibility. Let's go. Let's give each other space, and let's go dive in deep to face these things. And that was a part of me facing, and because of so much sadness and the anger and frustration and what comes up, because it wants to be released, right? So on a collective level, we are want to be free and liberated from these suffering, from these like let's say the space where it's missing love, because we are able to interact with this frequency of divine love. We're feeling it because we become more crystalline. We're experiencing more and more. We just don't want to go backwards to the carbon, because it doesn't feel good, because the carbon was like closed. You couldn't see. Now that it's clear, it's cleaned up, there's a sight, there's a light, right?
Isn't it interesting when this light comes down and hits those areas that sometimes we feel we've done the work, or we've gone or we just haven't remembered, or it's been suppressed, and it hits those very deep, deep sensitive areas and brings so much emotion out. That's what I'm grateful, and many times when I can be there of highest support, because these emotions, like, when a lot of things were coming up 20 years before Keon's birth, and there were moments that were coming up to really allow you to express that sadness, to really allow a lot of the roots that sometimes even myself, when it happens to me or within you, it's like, wow, that's still buried deep within there, because we know that ascension is a life, it is a journey. It's like, as much as we are clearing and cleansing, it is a journey to recognize there.
It is a life of constant purification.
Yeah. And
So-
as that and as we go through that purification, it's so important to take that time, to take that rest, to really process it and really to integrate it before we jump to the next level, because I feel at those moments it really gives us the gift and the blessing that I jump on to see what is happening right here. What is the gift and blessing that's coming out of this pain that sometimes we want to suppress, or we don't want to feel, or blatantly it just feels uncomfortable. And then once it comes up, and then we start to express it, and we feel it, and we allow it, and as soon as we purge it, then there's this lightheartedness of like, wow, it's really giving me that opportunity to look at the depth of love that is coming through. Because once that sadness is recognized, once that anger has been expressed, then the body opens up even larger, because those debris no longer are holding back, which usually were contracted in some level of resistance from not acknowledging it. So these magical moments of what we're going through and how we're feeling it, it really is a time of embracing it, so that we can fully give acceptance to what's moving through, and then
and you
deeper.
have to go through it. You have to go through it. So, like, for example, the
Good
post that
afternoon,
I
Dan. Good to see you.
Hi,
buds.
Dan. So when a couple of weeks ago, it happened to be before we went to Long Island. So I had made a post about my son, my older son Keon, for his university that he's going to starting junior year. That they were forcing a C test, which we're not going to say the word here, and all of that. And I was just like, what? And I could see through the email what had happened. And so the amount of, I had to like step it up and say, no, absolutely not, like, da, da, da. And my response was very, very strong. So my son is like, oh, mommy, no worries, just find me loophole. But otherwise, I'm not going to not go to school. I am going, but if I have to take the test, I will. And I was like, absolutely not. So I had to like find everywhere. I made a post, and I looked into a couple of different lawyers that are working with this. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And what happened was I was able to, based on a couple of things that I looked into, I was able to find a tiny loophole. And I was like, I am running with this. So, and that one morning I got up and I called them 4:45 in the morning. I called them the highest prayer that I possibly can. And I also posted and asked many of you to take part, just the prayer, so that he doesn't have to be tested, because he's not even on campus and all of that. But what was happening underneath it, I faced, because his birthday was this past Monday. So I'd faced this energy emotion from 20 years ago when he was born, and that week, how we were shocked, how sick he was, and having to stand up to the doctors, and the dark energy, and the amount of, I'd never processed fully what happened to me that week, how helpless I felt, how hopeless I felt, how sad I felt, how distraught I felt, how shocked, traumatized I felt. So here's my son, and there's like this crazy health issue. And then most importantly, completely not feeling supported. And it was also the same week, because I had shut the door to God so tight when my dad died a few years earlier, because I felt I created that. and I called that in. So I had closed the door, no communication with God at all. And it was also the same week that, because I was touched so deep because of my son, I I turned back to God in a very angry way, which you have heard before. And I said, "You did this. You have an answer. You need to show me the way." And that's where the doors open up. And so, having said that, I never processed the emotions. So here I was meeting this medical establishment again, and the forced CV test that ties into forced vaccines and all of that. That I was like, no part for myself. So there was that energy, and suddenly I remember, like,
It brought back all those emotions.
it brought like a hurricane of emotion. And I remember, I mean, I just sat and I just cried, and you came help me. You're like, talk it. And I just,
Wow.
I'd never bawled that way. How I had felt, and especially how unsupported I felt, how lonely I felt. Like, and that's what that did. And that tied into everything else of sadness washing away, grief, the amount of grief in me, and over the marriage, and the marriage of being in a relationship for so many years. I had to just suppress myself and not say, and just be the great wife, do everything, and just complete neglect it. And
may I ask, just for the healing nature of it, because it's beautiful how you're expressing it, and I felt it was such an honor to be in that moment of sensitivity and hold you and watch you really allow those emotions that even surprise you.
I weep.
You weep so
deeply.
For those that are listening, or those in that specific moment that you weren't able to express what you expressed 20 years
20
later.
years ago?
Like 20 years ago, when you went through it, you expressed to me, well, I didn't express this, I didn't express this, I didn't express that. If you were to look back at that moment, what was preventing you to express everything that was expressed now? Because I find that is actually a beautiful golden nugget to say, at that moment of my life, was there something that didn't allow me to go into, or didn't fully
Michael, you're shocked.
Well, no, but
first is the shock, like traumatized, shock, survival, and it's a very root chakra, not ground, not support. I mean, literally, and then it's like just trying to find a solution. So
kind of that fight or flight.
And it is complete fight or flight, and there's nothing of the me as a person. But it's just, what can I do to help my child? So there's zero
of that time for you to fully be present.
Zero, because you're breastfeeding, and and then we have physical therapy in 9 months, 3 times a week of a baby like this. Like, I mean, it's just insane. Like, so nothing. There's no time, energy, nothing for the self.
And that's the reason why I feel it's so important to share that, because it's also important to note that when there is that fight or flight survival, which is very normal, and we want to get by it as quick as possible, to also look at the healing of that experience of when giving that space and time to sit with it, when allowing that presence for us to really embrace what's going on. Obviously, at that moment, there was no chance or no opportunity, but also always to learn, even myself, when I go through something, if it's been that traumatic and there wasn't a moment to really sit and process that, or really to sit and feel with it, how many other moments are there out there that we have, not just from our own individual ascension, but our planetary ascension, of just this survival mode of what we're moving through day in and day out.
But that's also, so the other part of it is, we as individuals also agree to that experience, because there is of purpose. Is of purpose to go through that. What's it like to go through, to really deny yourself and just live for your children and your family and everybody else, and no sense of self or love, and then you come, and then not having the ability to voice, because you weren't supported, and you couldn't voice it, and you just didn't have whatever, and then you go through the journey from the victim consciousness, and then to a survivor, like an empowered state. And then there's multi layers around it. And I feel like what happened with this was very significant in this month of August, because it needed to clear, it needed to purify, it needed to finally cleanse this, because on a planetary level, there's more and more and more of these streaming codes coming. The more they are, the more they're aligning us to our divine. This 2020, as we let the New Year's Eve going into the gateway of divine alignment, I wrote about that yesterday. This is the first year of a 10-year of a decade to align with the divine. So what's going to happen is finally, because we've been able to be, there's a collective conscious that holds this grid that is more Christed, and we are moving to our Christed selves, right? So, and aligning with the source light. So we're able to be more held in the light, so that we can go through even deeper purification where we didn't have this before. And it could be with like a partner or a dear friend that's really in the heart, where we can just allow it to self-wash, so we can finally be on their side of it, because it doesn't have an impact anymore.
And what I love in that you expressed is a beautiful exercise that's so shamanically, that you reminded me that I remember learning in my early years when training, was that how valuable it is when we look back 10, 20, 30 years of traumatic experiences, and then allow our higher self to go back and have a conversation with that inner child that has those wounds, or the teenager. And many times, when people hear these, they always say, you're so grateful you have each other. And it's an absolute gift and gratitude of blessing that we can hold this for each other. But individually as well, when we're in positions that we have traumatic wounds, we have pains, and we're moving through these, because as you know, with 2020, it's a complete clearance of everything that we've been holding on to.
And not surprised, 1 second, we have each other, but had I that day, it was coming, right? The cycle started coming. There was something, I woke up in the morning feeling so good. I had the best prayer. And then as soon as I wanted to come do a picture for Kian, right?
Brought it up.
It kicked, and it started, the spiral started going the other way. And I felt myself bad to even giving attention to where this was going.
Why did you feel bad?
So this is what we're clearing, right? Because in that moment, I was like, my God, I just had a beautiful prayer.
Right.
I'm so-called on the other side. Look at the things that's transferred. With Kiana, I was okay, but it was more Nevon, because I didn't have the closure with Nevon yet. So then more stuff came up. And then I felt embarrassed to cry over this, because it was coming, and it was a fast downward spiral. And I was like, and I know what that does whenever I go way down,
But did you?
But what happens? I gave myself permission to cry it. That's when I went on the bed. Then when you came, and I felt like I can be. I am. There's a permission for me to be held and go, and that's when I hollered.
And that's, I feel, which is so juicy, it's so point on, is when we give that permission, and even that allowance
to break down,
to break down, because sometimes sometimes even our egoic bodies want to hold us in the highest strength. Even if we're going through, like what you said, I thought it was beautiful how you expressed it. I'm in my highest prayer. I'm doing so well. How can I possibly go into the opposite?
That's exactly that.
That almost, it's like taking that old program, being like, well, that light came in so strong, and that spiral came in so strong that it was there to dissolve that into. And I remember as you were crying, there was even that embarrassment coming up. I can't believe this is coming up. And all I kept saying to Honey is like, it's okay to feel the sadness. It's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to feel all this, because how powerful is it when we're in these very heavy traumatic moments, and to literally voice from your heart to say, it is okay to feel this.
It's
like
okay.
it is okay to feel the pain. It is okay to feel not okay.
And you didn't sugarcoat anything.
No.
You said it's okay. That permission. I mean, how immediately lifted I felt after that. I felt so lifted. It was like, and I felt like there were junks coming out of me. When Michael was working on me, I was like, Michael, I swear, I feel they're like zombies coming out. They're like zombies, like, because it's these old, and there's been, even though the amount of healing work, it's crazy the amount of healing work has been done, there is still garbage in there. I mean, really,
Not
it's garbage.
It's
But
debris. It's old paint.
But it's
old
garbage. Listen, it is garbage because it does not have a place. It doesn't have in this Christ golden, beautiful, loving light, because it's old energy. It's an old template. So how does this sacred divine feminine, sacred divine masculine template gets fully unified? Because these things have to be brought up so it can be hardened and heard.
Even that so-called garbage
Yeah.
is still loving energy because it's old energy that's being transformed.
No, absolutely, it is.
In the blessing of that, I understand what you're saying, but the blessing of some of these old things that are deep within us, and it usually takes very, very, interesting moments of our lives to bring it back up. What I appreciate was the embracing of it, the expression of it. Most important, here's the thing that I find so powerful, is the feeling of it. To really recognize in those moments where we feel so upset, is to really feel that energy and allow that to come. Obviously not take over us and put us into a victim mode, but allow that energy to come forward, and then give gratitude, give thanks, and give love and compassion to those feelings that are coming forward, because they were never hearted at that moment.
And for it to come physical, the thoughts tie into the emotional body. It has to move through the emotional body. I mean, you can cry it out. Great. Then the physical body. Go have a full massage, deep. Just put it out, like really get it out physically, because it is coming to the physical. It has to be. It has to. So that's why then when we went to New York, it was so shocking that right after that we went to New York. So as you saw, our beautiful sacred sister Conchetta has gotten this magnificent EE system, the energy enhancement system, which is the scalar technology of the biofield, the 0-point field, where it has 8 panels, and these 8 panels emit this particular frequency where we were blessed for 3 nights to sleep in the center of it. We're like, wow, amazing.
Probably most people would not do.
We definitely will not recommend that, because.
But if you want to go for the full on, like,
we did not like, woo, digital data coming frequency, woo. So it was created by Dr. Sandra. I'll put the name later. She's precious. Rose Michael, right. And so she's totally galactic, totally Magdalene. And this was created 20 years ago. So, and she's out in Hawaii, and it was channeled to her to create it. And it's profound, and they've done so much research. But what it does, it's like a $40,000 technology, and it's incredible what it does at the biological level, bring the individual back to biological,
affecting the mitochondria of the cells that actually work within not only detoxifying it, but energizing our ATP and looking at the synapses in our body to really help align them in so many different ways. And it was wild as we were sitting there, whether I did most of my morning prayers there.
We did all of this crying and all that, and we went there, right?
And when we went,
and Conchita's like, you are going to sleep in it 3 nights. We're like, yes, galactic technology, right? Woohoo!
When I slept, it was funny because it allowed Honey to go deeper into her sleep. And because it was so bright, I felt like I was like in this like cosmic spaceship where there were just energy panels coming in, where I actually had to take one of my scarves and wrap around my eyes and just allow the energy, because at times I could almost hear the frequencies moving through, and it was powerful. I mean, I think we went on a little overload because, spending a whole night around them.
So you've seen, these are the panels, and there's several videos on it, and they're running. The screen is running, and this was the video I did with Conchetta. As you see, the digital data is running. So remember that's on one side. It's in 4 sides, and it is incredible, and it works with your own biofield system. That recentering is profound, and we did a whole video on it. All of that, you can see all of that we put. But what that did was that level of deep sleep. I was having more deep sleep than Michael was, because I wanted just for it, and I could see how it was working on all of my bodies. So we came back Wednesday, and from Wednesday I started going massively purging now my physical body from all that was taking place. And it happened to be the day before, happened to be the 25-year anniversary of,
On the 25th.
on the 25th of August was the 25-year anniversary of when I got married with my former spouse. And that really brought up a lot, because I've been very mad at him. Oh my goodness. Talk about him for 3 days.
Turned
So
into
Thursday,
Mr. Mom, Mr. Dad.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Michael was on my neck, on my shoulder, on my body, just
Acupuncture massage,
Acupuncture
hands-on healing,
massage.
Reiki, everything that could be possibly done, while holding back my own integration of feeling like, wow, there's no time to even like take a second to stop, because I knew this one had to be brought into her alignment because of the
but it
energy.
was finally, I felt like I was finally purging, and what was happening was I could see the perfection of what had taken place, what had transpired, what had taken place with also the EE system. So I can usually, and Michael knows, I usually go through it first, then he goes through things, right?
But
And
usually you go through it in a very intense way.
I always go through it most for something. It might be like, oh, this was fun. I experience things at such an intense level. Like most people are really having like a little experience like this. Mine is like this, so the sensitivity is
Mosquito
off the
bites
right.
her, it's like a dragon collapsing on her. And so
I mean,
sensitivity.
it's terrible.
But what I thought was very powerful through that, and it's really allowed me to understand that, when most people go into any type of purging or releasing, in all my years of working with clients, of being around family, not for a second did I ever allow myself to feel that, oh my gosh, she's infected with some type of illness that's going to affect me, no matter how much she coughed, how much she was mucusing, no matter how much I love you, like literally in my eyes, in my face. I mean, most people would not be in the up close personal, because sometimes we just want to be held, we want to be loved, and we want to be supported. And I know this one, when she gets in there, I want to give as much love, but it was almost like, like when you're holding that baby that's coughing, that's snotting, and you have no choice just to allow everything.
I was a baby for 3 days.
And so I felt like I was like her father or mother at that time, really giving that space to say, it doesn't matter if I go through anything, my immunity is low. And that power of just trusting my immunity, my strength, and my ability to hold that space really moved me through those almost 4 days in a way that it didn't affect me, other than just creating a deeper level of tiredness from my lack of integration myself that I felt right afterwards,
Right.
In a small time. Point being is, anytime we're cleansing, anytime we're clearing and we're moving things, it's important to recognize that the emotional, mental, and spiritual body is finding that avenue through the physical. And before we start to look at virus and bacteria and antibiotics, it's like our body has to upgrade, and has to go into these levels. Even when we were little, the more sick you are, the better, because of the antibodies you're creating to invite the healthy bacteria. And so we never even went to the zero. We never even acknowledged what it was. We just realized that it's important to integrate, acclimate, and really process what is going through in what I thought was pivotal, the shifting of August into September.
It really was. And also I felt like I was telling Michael, I said, Michael, you're finally getting the feel of what it's like as parents when our children, for days, you're not sleeping, we're just holding the child, comforting, and we're like, there's no consciousness we're going to get whatever they got. I mean, we've gone through that so much. I was like, you get to experience being my parent, like, it was
eye and like a snot.
it
It
was-
was so cute because
but
she's
but
like,
you know, but you've gone
coughing.
through that, and I'm like, nothing happens because there's that consciousness. No, that you're not sick. You are beautifully purging. But one of the things that did happen after this, like, so from like Monday, my cells, it's so interesting. I'm seeing my cells in this, like, the same way the panels are running. I see them running this rainbow colored digital data, the screens, like, through my cells. So it's a very interesting space. I can feel I've stepped into something new. And I can also see how how I was gifted by loving universe to go through my purging through this very difficult period with my sons, and this way. Each of you, perhaps, if you haven't gone through it yet, you may be going through it, or what have it, depends where you are on your ascension journey, to also go through the massive purging and purification, because the month of September holds this. It's almost impossible to experience that 8-8 frequency, that stargate, and not go through purging and purification to be ready for this completion, which is a September energy, because you need to go through this completion cycle, particularly 9-9. Close these ending things, right? Loose ends, so that you can then move into the equinox. This equinox becomes very pivotal for the next 3 months for us, because we're then now going to reseed the new, regrounding what is to come in 21. So, and for us to bring the light, we can't bring these frequencies that we have had within us, that also feed the parts of us that's been perhaps like, it's the denser part, like giving our sacred energy to our denser part without being fully even aware, consciously aware. So once you're consciously aware, then you have no choice but to actually do something about it, and bravely, courageously do something about it.
It's powerful how much light.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, Angela. How much light these systems emit, and really how much light frequencies are moving through right now, because it's a great expression when Honey showed this for once again, the amount of light frequencies that are coming through us and what that does to the densities. And even myself, between the 8-8 Lionsgate, there's just been this energy, and I feel it's from my higher self, my connection with my Father coming through, of really looking how we can refine ourselves. Like, look at where the loose ends are, and look at when this light comes in, this light of love is here to expand us. And what I've recognized in my own day-to-day actions is like, okay, I'm responsible for my energetic frequency. I'm responsible for my geometric pattern. How can I take these increased levels of light, whether it's from the EEN system, whether it's outside, or just all the upgrades that we're experiencing, how can I bring that light into my body and really draw the highest level of focus and refinement? Part of that is looking at the human experience and saying, okay, I'm responsible for my thoughts, I'm responsible for my emotions, I'm responsible for my feelings. Am I able to bring that awareness of that light of love to those moments where I want to react, those moments where thoughts come in and I don't personalize, those moments that, how can this light of love start to shift those old patterns, those old beliefs, that when we're triggered, to fully engage ourselves so that we have, when I say control, ability to move through situations that thoughts can provoke responses and reactions, feelings that naturally happen on the outside. Yet when we're living from our highest level of light and love, we now can come through, James, exactly, our crystal clear nature. And for me personally, how I'm acting upon that is looking at really looking at the thoughts that move through my head. and really saying, is this coming from a loving nature, or is this coming from a victimization or a trigger? Really see what feelings are moving through and saying, are these my feelings, or are they someone else's feelings? Because the more I can start to refine, the more I can start to really look deeply that, yes, life lives you. We're not in control, but yet we also have the control of us and how we choose to really allow the thoughts, emotions, programs, all the things that go through us. We have that ability to bring love and light directly through them. And if we choose not to, which is okay, then we also see the effects of the old patterns coming up and creating that old energetic effect of those patterns that are seeking its way to be transformed. And so for me, it's like, add love to every single thing. And not when I say love, that divinity of love, that will of love, that expression of love, that trust of love, that creativity of love to really help diffuse anything that is lesser than that Christed love. Because we have that, we are that, we're just moving through the greatest transformations that are here to awaken us. And I find the more disciplined we can be without being too hard on ourselves, without judging ourselves and trying to really nitpick everything, is to let that light of love help expand and dissolve these older energies and debris that are here to be released.
Well, bravo to that. Let me see if this works now. So let's take a look here, Michael. Let's see if what our beautiful family is sharing. How has been with you all? Barry, I saw you are. So I remember you want to go to Germany to see your daughter, and now you said they're forcing testing, which is all part of it.
And we'll get right there to Valerie. James, you're feeling lighter, expanded,
good,
tired, more high temperature and upper crown, massive, beautiful. Valerie, it seems that old energy has been heavy, lots of sadness, old emotion families coming up.
Yeah.
Definitely understandable. I can completely understand your level of traveling. My mother specifically promised to go see my aunt who's going through lung cancer right now, but she put on all of these, like, you have to get a COVID test. If you're hanging around Honey and Michael, I don't know if they're supporting masks and believing in this pandemic, so maybe you should stop seeing, like, all these conditions of what's happening on other people's indirectly affects us, which brings up old family rooms. So my blessings and heart and compassion go out for that, because as much as we want to see them, it's hard to see other countries hold these heavy restrictions. James, massive coronal discharges. Coronal discharges are coming in now, light codes of information. Thank you, James. We're grateful that you're always looking out for the greater community and always blessing and wonderful our light and souls. Great to see you, Lisa. What else? Changing the past, self-limiting programs. Exactly. Great to see you, Dan. Lisa said, yes, conscious parenting is so powerful. It takes determination and real thought to do so. Congrats. Thank you, Lisa. Higher heart says, everything has been rising into the heart and transfigure from the heart into the higher heart, literally accelerating through higher octaves of light as we feel so. She continues, with all I've been experiencing in the collective, I keep seeing the tides rise into the heart. Great awakening. Exactly. For sure. Humanity ship Heartbound, it's wonderful. Valerie, I've been scheduled to fly to Germany in October to visit my daughter, although they have not fully opened up travel yet, but even so, they were now requiring. Just out of curiosity, Valerie, are you choosing to still go and take the test, or have you decided otherwise?
Don't say the word on here. They required the C word.
The C word, okay, because there may be opportunities that we can share with you to do your own healthy, safe, unregistered levels that we can share with you at another point. Higher heart, the beauty of heart's grace to lift us in the most significant, majestic love we are. There's a powerful force that lives through our spirit of the heart. Exactly. For sure. James, the transmutation of old shadow energies into the light of love. Yes. Well, that is really the trueness of what we're moving through. And just on that point, I almost feel that, as Honey and I feel, this transformation, because it's rising and becoming more intense, I find that it's so important personally that to step back and really observe of what's coming through and what the agenda is, because without letting our emotional body feed into the reaction that they want you to have, is to almost step further back and watch what is happening and to see where that pull is within yourself, to look deeper of saying, okay, how much of effect does this have over me? What is my truth? What is their truth? How can I live through an experience without feeling like my freedom is being taken away? With all this censorship that's coming in, I feel like it's the biggest gift for us to say, well, go ahead and censor this. Go ahead and censor it, because we are going to the greatest liberation and freedom. So it's almost the greatest trigger for them to see if they can limit our voice, take away our full expression, and then allow us to dive even deeper to see what avenues can we go into our multidimensional selves to create that freedom. Because I know personally, my whole life, it has been a search for freedom. It has been a battle for me to see how I can navigate through a matrix I never felt comfortable, even having left the country in this escapism to see, I'm done with America. I'm going to Mexico and I'm going to travel around the world. But coming back, I can still see that search of freedom, of living a purely liberated life without having so many constraints. So in that blessing of what I see, that everything is giving us the opportunity to rise higher, how can we see through what's coming through? And how can we even liberate higher, not to allow their attempts to dismantle our light, because our frequencies are so high that can't touch us. We just have to watch what we do.
We do, but like, for example, Michael, like one of the things that's coming up, I'm glad we spoke of the censorship. One of the things like Facebook, for example, you more recently on it the last 3 years, many of us have been on it for years, like mine, 2007, I joined. So, and there's this community, there's all this connection. Like right now, it's the censorship is going on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on YouTube, and Facebook. So Facebook announced what they're doing as of October, but like right now we have this space with you that we can communicate. So we have to shift some of the words, because one of the threats that has been, they will take down your channel, your page, and whatever. So then you don't have this connection and communication. So it is, and we are part of the community of light. So it is a direct impact on the community of light, where we bond, we share our information, we share our event, we have these conversations where we can feel like, okay, we're all part of what we're experiencing. So that okay, we're seeing this NWO taking part, like in Australia, and how harsh it is that for you to say something you don't support, they come into your home and arrest you. Like at some point you're seeing, okay, this is at a next level dark. So how can we, what choice do we have? Like you have one second. Because like, and then we're gonna, and this is also part of the September energy to see what happens. Like, let's say we went through this earlier, if Facebook shuts down for a few days, no problem. But what we're looking into is greater. So I've been looking at MEWE, I've been looking at Parlor, I've been looking at other ways, like, so that we have our community, because this is to break this bond of the community. Naturally, heart to heart, there's no bond being taken. However, when we are, let's say, going through major ascension shifts, like for example, on Facebook page, I put massive headache, body ache, started 3 p.m., whatever. And there are all these people responding, because that also communicates to them that they too are experiencing. So we're supported by this. So when these communications are cut, Michael, there is an impact on the community of light, tremendously.
And I do feel it's important to become aware of that. But what the most important thing about what we can recognize as censorship is, when we look again deeply through it, anything that we post or create that is a threat to the individuals that are on the opposition of it, we automatically realize there's going to be a reaction. The gift of Facebook and all these social medias is they're not censoring our ability to share our divine messages. They're not censoring our ability to express our deepest love. They're not censoring the amount of light that we can shine, because yes, there is the exposure of it all, but they're not going to censor if we're sharing our light and love in a frequency for the highest good of all. without going into the fight or the attack or the exposure, which we know that's already happening. But again, we're rising up higher to say, oh, if they're choosing to take away our rights, if we're saying things that they don't like, well, they're not going to take away our ability to keep expressing our deep-hearted love, because ultimately, our fifth dimensional frequency is to hold the highest frequency of light. If they become censoring loving messages, if they start, the divine energies that are coming through, the stories that we can share to lift people up, the ways that we can help people move through energetic levels without, attacking the system, pointing to the system, telling what's wrong, who's to blame, who's there. It may be actually a gift for us to stop the fight, because we already know it's happening, and now start lightening up on the areas that we can add the healing and the love and the blessing to it, because that to me is the energy for those that want to. And we all have our different levels of where we're positioned, where we're beacons of light, where we're way showers. But if they're taking away what they don't want to see, then it's us rising higher in our light and love to blast them even higher with it, because as I'm seeing, they're not taking away loving messages or higher
yet,
levels.
Michael. So this, like, for example, with the Facebook, this effect supposed it is in October, but you do not know whether, for whatever reason that's been on your content before, it's going to wipe out your pages. We've had a couple of friends that we know, they were completely removed, like they can't even get everything wiped out. So that's what we're dealing with, Michael. So of course we can share all the love and light, post that, but at this point we're not sitting here saying that, things can be completely wiped out and removed. Just so that I'm glad you guys are here. We still, of course, WhatsApp, Instagram, they're all the same. Connect with us also on this is also the email to have that. The one thing that I would like to share is there is I switched Michael and I to Brave browser. There's a link I have on that I've posted it. I'll send it to all of you. And you know what? Hold on one second. Let me give you this link right now. I ask you to please use this as your browser. So that's use this code to download browser instead of Chrome. We let go of Chrome right now. We're using Brave, so it has way less information of yours being taken out. It's way more secure. So I have shut down WhatsApp on my phone, completely removed them. Michael and I moved to Telegram as well. And that's the link you can use to download the browser. And what is cool about it is that when you do, there are ads there, but you can choose to watch it and you get paid for it, which is like a few cents,
And
whatever. They block all the other ads. They block all the other crazy material. When you see like how much, like right now when I'm looking at Michael here, like for example, right here, look at 99 items have been blocked, 99 plus, just for us being on live stream, because they take the information from all of you as well. So,
that's cool, Lisa. You
yeah,
DuckDuckGo. That's great.
And that's another one that's been I love the technology of Brave. So anyway, so the changes is upon us, and I feel the month of 9 again is giving us this space of embracing the changes coming up. And I feel like the other part is for all of us to see where are we in relation to everything to create these changes and bringing them into harmonization. So one is to address the loose ends, and then from once we address them, then there's space so that you can give birth and rise to the other higher ideas or the solutions that are more sustainable for the higher good of all and what have you. And I feel one of the things that Michael and I did also was, this week as felt better, we got a chance to sit in our relationship, like where are the areas that we have to really heart it more, improve it more, and bring more light to it, and especially like in our union, and which is so perfect because the month of September, we knew we were guided to start this conversation with others who are in sacred divine union bonds, who are serving together like us. They're fully public, fully open. Not one has this job, the other one has that job. They are of service, and they are part of this planetary ascension. So I'm so excited we're finally doing this. So we have these couples on for this hour talk. So we get to ask Michael and I the questions. What do they go through? Do they go through the stuff we go through? And how do they move through it? So we get really raw, real answers, because sometimes we feel we're missing others who are in our position so we can talk to, because we hold space for so many. But so others, are they going through this? So we can really, really bring it out and to help support others that are going to be coming into a union, because there are many, many of you that your counterpart is going to be here, and you have to serve it together. So you're going through your personal part, because he or she is going through his or her personal part, because when you come together, then your union has to go through, holy moly, the amount of initiation steps, and there's no one formula.
And I feel it's the greatest ability to allow that freedom of expression in honoring what is coming forward, as well as really listening to others and their experience. Because many times when we just get a chance to listen, and we get to hear, and we get to broaden our experiences, because each and every one has a gift to offer, it opens it up. I mean, even what I find between us and our busyness is to find that play, that joy, that energy that sometimes gets lost in between because of just the what has to get done each day. And so it's beautiful to hear, for example, other couples or other individuals to really see in this, what sometimes I see a survival mode, fight or flight response system, that somehow this part of the country, if not the world, is on a constant go to bring forth that divine alignment of how others are going through it. And so in their divine unions, it's beautiful to see how people choose and where they express that within themselves, within their union, and how they live that, because it's ultimately the embodiment and embracing of what's coming forward. And I cannot be more grateful for Honey to jump on this, because I feel it gives more awareness and education for those that know. And
it is through just like this, through what we've directly experienced, Sharon. We have worked with other couples before too, so we're going to talk about that for a minute. And I feel it's very important, the other sacred divine union couples, not just random talk, but really getting into it. So it starts on the 14th of September. Our first guest is Robin and Vaughn. They're out in Hawaii. We were supposed to see them when we were going there in February, and things shifted. So we're so excited for that. And then the week after, Monday, we have Heather and Jason Powers. So those are our guests for this month. And I feel it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be live streamed on the Ascension Alchemists Facebook page, unless something shifts with the Facebook page again. But that's where it's scheduled to be. And then we'll upload the video on YouTube as well. And I feel that's going to be really powerful, because there's more and more of this 144,000 that are coming together in this unity. And it is the balance of the sacred divine feminine inside, sacred divine masculine inside, the unity Christ consciousness within. And then the other counterpart is also going through that. So then we unify in this field, and this field is the next level of purely serving. So, and that's why we're meeting individually where the area that has to enhance, and responsibly taking that charge of enhancing it, embracing it. And you're also starting the
voice of the sacred masculine, which is it's been within me for a very long time, and my dear sacred beloved has been giving me the nudge, and just feeling and really coming forth in the videos and the comfort of speaking, and just taking that energy of really bringing forth the importance of diving into the sacred masculine as we are in this wonderful, powerful rise of the sacred feminine, and noticing how women have taken charge. Women have had these sacred circles, and there just seems to be a lack of that within our sacred masculine, and I feel that there's been this charge, and you really see in the ascension process of how many times there's just been in the forefront the women taking charge, and all right, as seeing, because we are in that rise of the sacred feminine, but we also
We're not rising this. We have been,
we've
sweetheart.
been that rising, but I mean,
Right.
we are in that. You have been that, but we are still rising in it. It is a time period where
There's a sacred
where
rise,
there's
yeah,
a sacred
in
rise.
both.
In both. So it's beautiful to really invite the beautiful sacred men and have these raw, real, open conversations of what it is, from even the uninvolved to the involved, to the actions of taking our own accountability, taking our own ways of what we can do to co-create, how we can support each other, what ways can we bring to the new foundations and the new timelines we're placing forward. Because, as Honey has always reminded me, a man sometimes will not hear anything else but from a man. And right now I feel it's these old paradigms that are dissolving, and these old areas that just need to be released. And so by bringing on some beautiful, powerful sacred men to share their journey, to share what has it been like for them, how is their relationship within themselves, what have they done specifically, so it can be an action experiential phase to not only allow people to hear, but also to inspire other men that may feel like there's not a lot to turn to, because there are beautiful men out there. There are many sacred beings, but sometimes they feel lost because the old, egotistic level of this mental body has taken frame. So how can we bring forth this heartedness and bring in the love through our expression, and really seeing that sacred is the divine within us, in bringing the virtues, in bringing our moralities, and really coming through our Christed heart so that we can lead from our heart, versus the old mental body that has taken this individual separate way that has created chaos and pain and hurt for thousands of years. And part of it I find is taking responsibility of that, acknowledging that, but also bringing in the virtues of what can be applied and practical. So it's not just talk, it's ability to share the tools that we've learned, the tools that we're working on, and the things that have come up for every one of us, not just males, but that masculinity within females as well, because we know both of that is within us. And this time frame I really look at is how the masculated level has become emasculated within both men and women, and to see how we can bring our feminine counterparts of being from that state and allowing that alignment so that we're working within complete harmony and balance. So I'm honored, and I'm very excited to bring that forward with a dear sacred brother of Ty Medina this Monday, September 7th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 Pacific, to initiate
on Ascension Alchemists. That's going to be live Facebook.
And have live Facebook, and to hold these, bi-monthly, as we're doing with the Sacred Divine Couples, and really bring forth the raw, the real, and even the vulnerabilities within ourselves, so it can be shared. It can open up to explore, because I feel absolute transparency, absolute authenticity is the integral part for us to become whole in our ascension process. And so I'm very much looking forward to that, and excited, and very thankful for my beloved who has been behind the scenes in helping me with my beautiful lack of computer technology and the artwork, and also finding the words sometimes because of the feeling that's within me, but also trying to bring the words out, because part of my journey as a sacred masculine is knowing that it's feeling before I speak, and really choosing the words that match the resonance within, because sometimes it's hard that words don't have the same power and frequency of what we're feeling. And so to choose the grace and the elegance without being too wordy or too talky talk, and allow the simplicity of the elegance and grace that we know we're here to share. And I know that there's so many beautiful men out there that are here to share their beautiful expressions of their sacred masculine and their stories and their energies, that I'm looking forward to initiating this Monday.
It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. Let me just put that too. And I feel that with that, one of the other things that Michael and I felt guided, sometimes we have those who are in a union. We've had this quite a bit, that has said in person if they could have a session with both of us simultaneously. But because of our space, we have one treatment bed. We haven't been able to do that, and we were so blessed because one of our dear sacred sisters, Danny, she gifted us her massage table, which is amazing. And I have been wanting to buy another amethyst crystal biomat. So I'm a distributor of the amethyst crystal biomats for 14 years. I'm an authorized dealer, communicator, teacher, and for me is a huge part of my life being on that biomat. As Michael came into my life, and it's a huge part of our actual work that we do, the healing that we do in person, and even for me when I do transmissions, that holographs I book, they're still on the biomat. The biomat for me is everything. This triple technology that it has with the negative ions, the amethyst crystals, and the far infrared technology, it's a godsend. So I have so much value for it. So we did place an order for that. And finally we get to facilitate this healing, not just for couples, but those who are like sometimes mother son or mother daughter, or like two dear friends. They want to experience this together, but the focus is more still on the sacred divine unions, where they get to have a session simultaneously in this hour and a half with both Michael and I that involves, it's galactic, it's shamanic, it's sound healing, acupuncture, light massage, crystals, light language. It's like such a huge, or like basically all of our gifts combined together, which we have done that before
Very
on
beginning.
every once in a while. But in the beginning, we did on just one person. But I'm so excited, like we get to facilitate that in person, and through our union to be the container of this transformational healing in this 1 hour and a half that we have. So that also starts like as of next week, Monday.
It's amazing how these biocrystalline mats are NASA engineered, and when you look at the detoxification, the way it really helps reunite our cells, and what we found,
Oxygenate the cells.
Oxygenate the cells. Hello, Lee. Good to see you. That these biomats are so healing just to lie on. I mean, we know that when the winter months come, you just take 15, 20 minutes to lie on these crystalline biomats, and you feel the healing alone in so many ways. I mean, there's a lot of overlap of the EEN, the energy systems, because when you're lying on this and you're feeling this detoxification, regeneration, recalibration, rebalancing, then you know that it is there to really help with us, because our bodies and what we're moving through in this time period, especially with all the technology that we're around, we can, and part of my exhaustion is because sometimes there's just so much overstimulation, and what we don't know, how much is coming through these screens, these phones, the energies, the towers, that we really don't know the fullness of what we're interacting with daily. So we do need other beautiful, powerful technologies to help balance that.
Yeah, and it does work at the cellular level. I feel like when you understand what the technology does for the whole being, and for us, it's like a community. When my sons sit here, my sons they go right on it. They know what it does for years. Like the one I have upstairs, I've had it for 11 years. So it's the investment that you put, and part of my center was we invest in wellness, so we're not spending on illness. That was that. And we recognize it, that it's not something you just buy and then you go buy again. Like it lasts you for so long.
It's the best investment.
So yeah, Lisa, you're asking expensive. Yeah, so the professional size is my favorite. That's the one that just about all my healer friends that have purchased from me, I feel is the best. I don't get any discounts. I say it right up front. I just don't. And I get, I will,
where do you get these?
and I get 10% commission on it. So I order it through my back end system. It's very easy. It takes 2 minutes. The professional size biomat is the professional size. If you have, let's say, a certificate of training, say for physical therapy, massage therapy, acupuncture, spa, Reiki, energy healing, any of those, even facial, that certificate gets you $100 off. So if it's $1,750, this is only for the US, and plus the shipping. And with your certificate, you get $100 off. And that's how it is. And with my closest friends that, had a little bit more of financial thing, again, like I said, I don't get discounts on it myself at all. So what I did was, from the commission that they give me, that's 10%, I took $100 out of my commission and gave it to a couple of these friends that could have used it. Most of my friends are like, no, we want you to have that commission money, because that's helped us with our travels. I just put it usually towards our travel where we need to get to the location. So it's never been about, it's really about the technology, the awareness, the understanding, and what it does personally first. Like, I will not live without Biomat. We have one in Miami, my brother has one. We love this, and I love incredible technology that does so much for all the bodies, not just one.
And if you imagine, there are, just like the EENT, energy enhanced systems, there are places that some people, charge to lie on the Biomat for an hour. You're paying $50 or $60 just to lie on that. If you can imagine making that investment so that you always have it and you're actually utilizing it.
I mean, like, the
every
system
single day.
is $44,000. We don't have $44,000. I couldn't be grateful that we have the Biomat, you know?
So the Biomat, when you look at it, it is a great way to look at how you can bring forth as much self-love as possible and honoring this system that, to be frank, if it's not updating daily, hourly, then we really have to take that moment, because just by sitting on these crystals, the heat, the energy of it alone.
Can you bring me like the thing? Let me bring it. I gotta show you something. You are gonna love this one.
The energy of it is phenomenal, because even when I came down to your center, it was like I had to schlep this 40-pound mat around. But when you see that the crystals are being warmed by the heat, and it's allowing,
what is the far infrared?
It's the far infrared technology that is beautiful, because even when you look at the pamphlet, which was made by the Japanese.
Let me share some. So what is important about far infrared technology? It penetrates into your bone from inside out. It heats your system, and when it heats the system, it allows the blood circulation. Most of the problems of the body is because it's poor blood circulation. So, for example, it doesn't get into the extremities. Like, let's see, like, for example, this one, it doesn't get here, so it doesn't vibrate well. But like here, they've taken a bunch of pictures of 30 minutes on the Biomat, and your cells have become oxygenated. Or a lot of times, like with my closest girlfriends, like when I lay on them, let me show you something. One of the things that's important to me, I like the visuals of this. It's very cute.
Just the heat alone.
For the breast is the best, to be able to take care of any kind of impurity in there and have it detox out of the system. And I like this way more than the saunas, because there's so much more that happens here. Most importantly is this one. Your 50 trillion cells in the body, and the channels open, because you're able to then, so the enzymes can get to the rest of the body, and then the toxins can eliminate out of you. That's why you sweat it out. It's so incredible. But if anybody's ever interested, I can send you the information. And if you ever want to place the order, let me know, because it's just like this.
And even just when you look at the simplicity of it with all of the technology, what I've learned in healing is not all, but majority, when we see pain, there's a blockage, there's a stagnation. Yes, there can be deficiency, but usually there is a blockage or obstruction. And what we found so instrumental is the heat, let alone with what it's doing in the technology, is creating more space to open up. That warmth within your body, I mean, just to wake up with a low backache, shoulders, beyond what it's doing to your cells, the heat alone, by lying on that, really helps open up the fluids. And what I've learned from an Eastern medicine perspective, as we all know, is we're in a constant shift of energy that's moving from our circulation of our blood flow to our yin and qi that's constantly circulating through our body. And when there's obstructions through our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, the heat is been used. Obviously, cold is the contra of when we have heat conditions. And we even bring that down to a setting of 1 if there is a inflammation process. Yet when that heat is brought into our body, that's why a lot of the Eastern countries, they drink everything warm or with room temperature, because the cold constricts, it contracts. But the heat of the biomat, to me, expands, opens, and liberates what I find is the pathways of the energy to move through. And it couldn't be better with all of the technology of what it's doing to the cells, the
triple thing, and it is
infrared.
FDA approved, but there's a whole lot because it was NASA technology and many years ago that was created. To answer your question, Angela, is there smaller? Yes. Over the 14 years that I've worked as a distributor of this, I can definitely tell you, I 100% will tell you, yes, you can buy a smaller version that's like $500, $600, $700. I will not do that. I have had anybody that's placed that, they've come back, placed the largest up. They do have it in a twin size also, a queen size, and a king size. Those are very expensive. But over the 14 years, it's always been the professional one, because most of our, look, it just arrived, Michael.
Wow.
So most of my friends that are healers for their healing practice and also for themselves, this is the one that they got, because and you can travel with it. The times that we have gone, we travel with it, take it with us for especially retreats and what have you. So it's profound. So having said, the point wasn't even to go there. I just want to talk about what the technology is. But even with this, you will never lay on it every day at that level. No way. So it was funny that we were in the EE system for 3 nights in a row, blasted that many hours, which was a lot, and it kicked it into a gear of like massive purging. But I'm very grateful for it anyway, that the way it went out. So if you ever wanted to, you can email me at ascensionalchemist@gmail.com. I'll send you the full information, and then whenever you want to place the order, it takes a week for it to come. So you would be beyond grateful that this technology is in your home, for you, your family, your pets particularly, but just to make sure they don't pee on it. Cats go freaking nuts over it. The dogs love it. Any of them with the bone ache, the dogs, amazing. So
and I'm not sure that I'm not aware of what the technology of Bemer or Burma.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. There are a few companies that are what we call fake amethyst crystal biomat. They're I just, like, even looking at it, I can't resonate with it. Maybe I'm biased because...
Or there's other technologies which we've seen through sound, through other vibrations.
No, there is sound, but when I'm talking about this particular one, there are a few. There's one with like a jade mat. Jade mat is good. I can't feel, like, there's a resonance that I know with this is so profound. So anyway, we leave it at that. Other part that I wanted to share with us this month, we're really... 9/9, we're not doing any kind of event. That's really personal. Again, like 8/8 for us, we're not one that certain major alignments that this, we don't do events because we have to be in the frequency ourselves so that we can serve others. And so that's a part for us. But we come back and there is one event that Michael and I are going to facilitate together, and that is an in-person one here in our area, and that's to help shift individuals to the 5th dimensional presence. And I feel like just to really help them to live more there. And that's end of the month.
That's the 26th. I was divinely guided almost a year ago as I was under my weeping cherry tree at my parents' home when my dad came through in a meditation, and the name was divinely given to me. And I know that what we're going through right now, of how important it is, because we do live in there is a 3D dimension out there, and many of us, as much as we are in this process of shifting into our higher vibrations of 5th dimension and higher, we realize we get thrown back into the 3D quite a bit. We're in this fourth dimensional place where it's like one foot's in and one foot's out. So originally, I did place that as an online event, but I feel the higher call was to do it in person, Lisa, in which we are looking at Rising Phoenix in Manassas, where Jackie will be hosting us. And this will be
for limited participants.
For limited participants, obviously. But we know, I feel that this event in person is going to have a very powerful frequency and energy. Obviously, Zoom and online, we're very honored to share.
We'll probably make it via Zoom as well. We'll see how
we know
we
that,
do that.
Her facility is beautiful and can hold that energy, and we look forward to doing that on September 26th, more in the evening. I had it originally at 3:30, but I feel we're going to push that back probably later toward 5:30 or 6, depending. But,
yeah, so it's going to be really wonderful, and I feel that this is all the stuff, and there are a few things that we are shifting within ourselves, and just to wrap this up, what I have now with my sons, my son Keon started his school. All is wonderful from this week, and the power of prayer really assisted him being where he needs to go without the C test. The other part, I gave this space, these almost 3 weeks, to my younger son so he can go through his own, and he wanted the distance, and it was very interesting for me to honor that, and no problem, he didn't want as much of the communication, and I really had to face that within myself and really honor, embrace it, while letting him know there are areas that are I'm visiting where I want to heal within me. So last night was the first time him and I got on the phone call, and he sounded so. He also got his driver license yesterday, and he was in such an embrace. He's like, "Mommy, I have so much to tell you. I went through so much changes. I want to see you so I can share with you what I went through." So it was so beautiful. Like he really wanted this, and as a mother, it was so freaking hard for me to step aside, not text him, not call him, that he wanted every now and then send an emoji. Meanwhile, it was just eating me up too, but yet giving him the space that he had asked while I had to go through my own and have this conversation with him. And he said, "Mommy, there's so much I want to tell you. I discovered this, and I really love you so much, and I respect you." I was like, "Thank you."
Happy healing.
And yeah, I was like, wow. And so hopefully I get to see him later today and see where he's at. And he has some things that he wants to talk to us about. So
that's great.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm excited.
But point being, when we give that courage to ourselves to really face things that we need to face, we can't shove it, we can't bury it anymore. And there are a lot of times we're processing things mentally because we have agreed that's okay, and it's not okay. And especially I feel like that ties into loss of friendships, loss of things that the energetic emotional body still processes that. We know there's no loss, but the emotional body recognizes it as a loss. So it still needs to be addressed. So I feel that's what is happening. And also there is this grief change in our society. And we know there's been this very heavy dark agenda, and then we're bringing the light to it, and then we're also being thrown around, and how do we stay in here and unite even stronger? So we also have to face that part, and the more we face it, the more we'll be able to be anchored, really anchored to the experience that has transcended, that has transformed, that is fully anchored, embodied. It is the time of embodiment. One of the things I just don't want to hear, I have no patience for people that just talk, because you can see right through them. Like, I have no interest in that. I am very interested in those who courageously chose to walk and really pull it in. And they are then serving from there. That's what really inspires me.
I'm going to read the angel message.
Okay.
My eyes are fading right now.
Okay, my love.
We have a very busy day right now. So,
Yes.
Thank you. Beautiful message. So, if you guys can all place your hands directly over your heart and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And allowing yourself to hear this beautiful angelic message. Express appreciation to the people you love. One of the greatest gifts comes from relationships where you're connected through one of the many forms of love, be it family, friendship, romance, or the soul. We know that you value the people in your life and cherish them deeply. Even though they know that you care, they always appreciate hearing this acknowledgement. Today, express appreciation to the people you love. The form this takes isn't at all important. A phone call, a hug, a card, letter, or present. Any method will do. Your gift to your loved ones is also a gift to yourself. Notice how good it feels to express your appreciation. The thought for today, repeating after me. I express appreciation.
I express appreciation
To the people I care about.
to the people I care about.
I say I love you.
I say I love you
In various ways.
in various ways.
And I am very comfortable.
And I am very comfortable
Conveying my feelings to others.
conveying my feelings to others.
The more that I do so,
The more that I do so,
the more love I feel.
the more love I feel.
And so it is.
And so it is. That was such a perfect one for today. So let us also join together in that beautiful, dazzling white golden light, centered at the center of our heart. And let's see what the oracle message of the Ascension is for us today, for our call in this group dynamic. Okay, we got two of them. Oh, beloved Yeshua. Yay. 40. Jesus came from Venus, planet of love. He was sent to earth to carry the Christ light at a time where the energy was very low. He incarnated as an Essene and received spiritual teachings throughout his childhood and adult life. Then he underwent many initiations to prepare his energy centers to carry the vibration of unconditional love. This card reminds you that all challenging people and situations are tests to prepare you for ascension. To pass these tests, you need to respond to them with unconditional love and balance. Remember, there is only love. Affirmation. I respond with unconditional love today.
I respond with unconditional love today.
And so be it. Oh, that's a good one. Love him, right? Love our man. Love our Yeshua. Ah, so beautiful. So much love to all of you. So much love to all of you. If we left anything out, please let us know. And again, we were on Denise Chadwick yesterday. That video, there's a lot of technology and there's a full clearing that takes place, so you can watch that video. And feel free to share this video because that's the greatest gift you can do for us. Really use that link if you're going to change your browser to Bravo. That's under my link. I posted it here. That will also help out and for your privacy and what have you. And
thank
so
you
much
for
love.
all joining for today for sitting through this beautiful opportunity of really hearting and hearing all the beautiful energies that are reflecting through all of our lives together. So we send you so much love, wish you the happiest 9/9 gateway, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Lisa, love you. Angela, love you. Lorelli. You always have that R and L that's hard for me to pronounce. Demetrius, love you. Lorelli, love you. Valerie, love you. Dan, love you. Angela and Lee, love you. Lee, it was so nice to meet you. By the way, Lee's a profound naturopath healer and doctor right in our area. So we were so excited we got to meet her finally in person. Looking forward to many more. So she's looking for the light tribe. Here they are, Lee. Here's everyone. Much love, everyone. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye-bye.